know, you've just been waiting for us. Okay, welcome to the HiFi Critics, Aquacultural Elites.
It's a very unlikely farm in a very unlikely place.
We raise saltwater shrimp in Fowler, Indiana.
Aquaculture, the process of raising seafood, has been on the rise in recent years due to the voracious appetite of Americans. Do you like seafood?
I love seafood.
Cuban?
I'm okay with some seafood.
Okay, so not all. All right.
All right.
I do. I love seafood. Fortunately, the Midwest, where your HiFi critics are based, by choice, is a potential Garden of Eden for aquaculture due to the ancient sea depositing salt on our bountiful land. In fact, the Midwest could become the solution to America's seafood trade imbalance. You understand a trade imbalance?
Yes.
We're importing too much, right? Not
Okay.
exporting enough. Are you in favor of the state of Illinois putting subsidies to support the development of the local aquaculture?
I mean, the simple answer to this is yes, absolutely. I think that it's a great idea. I think that ultimately, if you really read about the sort of the coastal fishing and how sustainable that is, it's not sustainable, and we don't want to. One of my favorite quotes was, "We don't want seafood to be," or this is paraphrasing it, "for only the 1%. Seafood should be accessible to every single person, and this is the type of solution that will make that happen. I'm in favor.
So do you understand what subsidies are?
Yes.
Okay, what's a subsidy?
Subsidy is that they would be providing additional funding and allowing for them to
Who's they?
the government. Yeah.
Okay, where does the government get their money from?
Taxes. I'm fine with.
Okay, I just
see,
wanted
here's
to
the
make
thing.
sure.
I am a left-wing socialist.
Ooh,
Wow. Right.
Andrea Ocasio-Cortez?
Yes,
On
I
the
am.
record, we got you.
Garcia Ortiz, right? Next ticket for president of the United States.
Are you representing the Bronx or Boys Town?
I'm Boys Town.
Okay.
But I'm all about this. I have been a long-standing, and I will stick to this platform for as long as I live. I want to help by paying for myself and others by putting into the communal pot.
Can you get your wallet out and put it right here?
Yeah.
I mean, I can put $1 down. I don't have that much money, but it's a percentage of income. You're participating based on your income, right?
All right, I
So,
just wanted to get it out.
just to one last question. You're for the government picking winners and losers.
I'm for the government supporting people to rise up and take what they need
Okay.
to be successful.
Sounds like The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders is
Bane.
shedding a tear right now. He's
Yeah.
at home in Vermont, like, wow, somebody's
speaking my
what's
language.
happening? I think the question is, am I for the subsidies for the state of Illinois subsidizing this thing? The state of Illinois is actually a minor part of the subsidies. It's the federal government that probably does the major farming subsidies right now. They're pounding corn. And subsidies are not just, free money, not just that vacuum in your pocket going and redirecting it, the dice in your pocket and redirecting that cash to the farmers. There's also price control, price fixing, import limits, just, production limits. So I'm against the subsidies, and not because I'm on the right side saying, well, let the free market decide. I just think, what I've seen happen to corn, and I love corn. Nobody loves corn more than I do. I love corn.
Yeah.
Barbecue corn.
You've gone on record.
Roasted corn. I could go like Forrest
Plantains
Gump.
made out of corn.
I could be like Forrest Gump. But without
It
being
was actually Bubba. that
Bubba
did that.
Gump, yeah. But Forrest Gump capitalized on somebody else's idea.
Yeah, that's true. So if you really want to talk about, that's a great example of capitalism.
So I think the corn market, and we're going to talk about tariffs and all that fun stuff and trade deficit. But what's going to happen here is that if the government gets in, starts subsidizing things, they're going to do price control, limit. Right now maybe there is no limit on production because the production is so small. But then they're going to have to artificially keep that price up. If not, what's going to happen is what's happening to soy. The bottom is going to fall out. These farms are going to go out of business, and we built all that infrastructure for nothing. I'm for the kind of subsidy of doing research. If they want to put science behind it and say, hey, how can we sustain, saltwater species or grow something else in the middle of the country, I'm for the National Science Foundation doing something there because, let's be honest, we're screwing up the oceans. Blue tunas are like going extinct. There's all kinds of fish, snappers are like being found in different parts of the ocean right now. Sharks, who knows where they're at.
Octopus are actually literally living in parts where they cannot survive
Yeah.
to get away from fishermen.
Yeah, the pH balance of the ocean is changing, the salt level. So we're going to end up in what's that movie, the space movie?
Waterworld?
No, Waterworld? No, the Christopher Nolan one, Interstellar. We're going to end up in an interstellar dust storm of no food. We might as well just do some research right now when we can't, before we die.
To be fair, though, at the end of Interstellar, they ended up fixing the problem on Earth before the guy got back anyway. So, like,
we don't have that.
Science screwed us on that.
We don't have that luxury.
So I want to pull you out of your
fantasy land,
your fantasy world here, your Atlas Shrugged fantasy world. I mean, what you're basically arguing is that there's enough free market out there that we don't want to dump money into something that, as a government, that will turn out to not work, and then the price will bottom out and it'll be a complete disaster.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a really good analogy where it's worked pretty well, and it's called Alaska.
Here we go.
You've been to Alaska, I assume?
Allegedly.
I think everybody here has been to Alaska at one point or another.
I've seen the good land.
The federal government, Department of Natural Resources, DNR, has done a great job of protecting the salmon fisheries and the halibut industry in Alaska, such that we have a bountiful. It's one of the last great places in America in order to get seafood on our own boundaries. Right? So why would you not want to keep America great again by supporting creating a fishery or aquaculture here in the Midwest where the demand for seafood is only going to go up?
No, so I think you're saying two different things. I think you're arguing that's not a valid argument. You're basically saying
I just made it there.
No, the argument you're saying is, well, the counter argument I would make is that's nature. They're helping a natural process and they're protecting it. We're trying to make gold out of cotton. That's basically what they're trying to do here, create these fisheries. I haven't seen salt water in a while around here, so they're trying to create that in the Midwest. So I think that's.
But you just said that scientifically speaking, the actual process of creating that sort of salinization within the earth.
Yeah.
So I mean, saying I haven't seen salt water here in a while is that's not. We're not doing something insane. We're doing something really interesting.
We're doing something. I mean, somebody's doing something smart.
I know the pressure's getting to you.
I don't think the pressure.
The bright lights, the heat, it's all getting to you. We can all tell. But what percentage of salmon are fished, not organic, but in these pens that are aquaculture out in the ocean?
Pretty lot.
Right. And it works. It hasn't caused the price of salmon to drop. In fact, the price has gone up.
You said the key
for
word
the organic.
there. I'm going to highlight this word. You said ocean, not in the middle of Cook County, Naperville.
Yeah, but they fish. They aquaculture, catfish, and
oyster
farms. So it's not about ocean versus non-ocean, right? But the opportunity is to do, what was it? It was like shrimp.
Yeah, the shrimp. I mean,
shrimp are big,
But I think what was really interesting to me in this entire thing, and the reason why I'm okay with the subsidies in a perfect world, because I do understand that what happened with a lot of the farming in America is that they start to say how many acres you can grow. If you have any more acres, that's stuff that you have to pay taxes on that you wouldn't have necessarily had to, even if it's for your own consumption and things like that. So there's a very fine line where the farmers can start to get screwed by the government. Very fine line. So in a perfect world, the subsidies, as you said, I think probably would be better used for the scientific research as opposed to the actual farming itself. But in a perfect world, it happens to the point where we can make this a sustainable solution, and then they start to back off on it.
No, yeah, I think that's why it should not be subsidy. It should be maybe arm in arm, private-public partnership, science research, because we're not. Right now, we're growing fish. We're going to have to grow plants. We're going to have to grow real farms somewhere else.
Right. So let's bring it back to reality.
Please.
Let's pretend
I'm in reality.
in a very real world that you are Governor Rauner, and your job.
Oh, jeez.
I love it.
Sorry.
We'll get to you in a second.
I'm ready my Harley already.
Let's pretend, which has got a tariff because it's manufactured overseas. But let's pretend that you're Governor Rauner, and your job is to basically foster a better economy in the state of Illinois.
Okay.
Would you not take some of those tax dollars that you just got when we went from a 3 to a 3.5 to 4.95% state income tax,
Uh-huh.
and put some of that, start sprinkling it around, because you're not the National Science Foundation.
No,
You don't have
yeah,
the
yeah.
federal dollars. You got the local dollars.
Okay.
Would you not try to support creating a new industry
I mean,
here, much like J.B. Pritzker has done in the city of Chicago with the tech industry? He single-handedly created
Wow.
it through 1871,
Wow.
according to him.
Wow.
Trademark for
You know, if I'm
Pritzker.
Governor Ronner, I you know, that's a trick question, because he doesn't believe in the government handout unless it benefits his friends. So I make sure my friends are running the aquacultures,
Which is
and
okay.
then, oh, here you go. Here's a little payola, and forget the pension fund.
I will say this though, getting away from the dollars in general. I think when you read about the people that are doing this and the innovations that they had to develop themselves in order to be successful for this, this is the type of thing that we need to be doing as a country in general. We can't continuously have this like going back to coal, going back to
Beautiful, clean coal.
excuse me, beautiful clean coal. Like we have to start driving innovation forward back in the United States, and I think that this is the type of thing that we need to be embracing, similar to the way that we should be embracing clean energy, because that has been driving a lot of innovation.
So I'm with you in innovation, but should the government say, hey guys, we need to innovate? That's the question. That's what subsidies do. They basically say, hey guys, we need to innovate this. I mean, they're really innovating the military, right? So
It's the whole reason Tesla even exists, because of government subsidies.
Yeah,
Right.
Without government subsidies,
there'd
there'd be
probably
no
be no
Tesla.
batteries, yeah.
But
And that shirt that you bought, you could burn.
all I'm saying,
Or you catch on fire inside
right,
the car.
yeah, because the
When
sun
you're driving.
will have nothing.
Or the battery
yeah.
will blow up.
Well, no, the ozone layer will destroy, and the sun will just burn off all your
Oh, I
clothes.
was just saying the
anyways.
battery's going to blow up in the
Ah,
car.
yeah, I think that there needs to be subsidies. I agree that we need to get in a little bit more detail as to what's actually being subsidized, but it isn't. People will, and they will. The people in charge and the people who are trying to make money are going to drive what they have seen that will always make them money. And so things like this sort of aquaculture is not going to thrive because of the people who want to do things the way that they've always done it, the people that are in power. So yes, there needs to be some meddling in there to try to drive and funnel cash to new industries and new innovations. Yes, people will then start to take it over and start to make money off of that, but we do need to continue to grow, and the only way to do that is to try to drive money away from these old fogies doing steel, whatever, and
U.S. Steel.
yeah, soy and all this kind of shit, and getting somewhere better.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I think the correct answer is food is a strategic interest of the
There we go.
United States of America.
Yeah.
And both at the federal and the state level, we need to support things like this. So, closing question.
Mhm.
Would you support your president in making America great again by placing tariffs on imported seafood? Because we have a massive trade imbalance
Yeah.
on imported seafood.
$15.6 billion.
We could take the money generated from those tariffs, which comes from the rich, primarily, because they're the ones that can afford seafood, and put it back into local aquaculture for the people.
I mean,
You support it, and you're a bedwetting liberal. That's what you said.
There are two things to this. Number one, if this were to come from the current president of the United States, there would be no way that the money from those tariffs go back into the industry in the United States.
Allegedly. That's not the question. Would you support your president to place tariffs on the imported seafood? Because the argument you're making is basically, well, if Obama was in there, he would do it because he cares about the 99%. I think that we've kind of seen that that's not true either. So let's strip that argument
in this
out.
case, out of all of the proposed tariffs and currently implemented tariffs, this is one that I would support, because this actually is trying to solve a problem as opposed to creating unnecessary issues with other countries.
I'm not surprised that he supports it, because he cares about the 99%.
Yeah, obviously.
And this is a democratic position to put tariffs on foreign goods.
I guess
But
so.
what about you, Bernie, bro?
I mean, no, I'm anti-tariff.
Oh,
The answer is no.
so why?
I mean, why, again, trade, I know our current president wants to do a little trade war because trade wars are easy, you can win them very easily. No. July 6th is a big day. The first of the tariffs kick in, and that would be you like to use the word bellwether. That would be the bellwether for the rest of the tariffs. There's a seafood tariff going around. July 6th, China's going to start basically importing seafood from Canada. Not our brothers to the north, Canada, not us, because we're in a trade war now with China. So, listen, the money needs to be laundered. The spice must flow. We need all this to go around. If we start putting tariffs on seafood coming in, our steaks are going to get tariff going out. Whiskey, bourbon, tires, Harley Davidson, our bullets. Let's
I
no.
agree with that.
Nails.
I think though that there is a point where if we're producing enough seafood to counterbalance what we could be getting from outside of the United States, it does start to make sense.
So you basically want to put a wall around the United States and
I
say,
wanna-
hey, you guys can't afford your seafood. We're going to make our own. Mine is mine. Yours is yours. See you in 20 years.
I
see what happens.
feel like what you're doing is trying to put words in my mouth.
I know. I'm asking what you want, right?
No, I do not want a wall, but I also
When
think
you
that
build tariffs, that's what you do. When you say, hey, if you're going to bring your little tilapia or catfish over here, I'm going to tax it at 22%, and the U.S. market is 0 because I want to grow a U.S. market, then,
yeah.
how about growing a U.S. market, not just here, but abroad? Because that probably would drive more innovation. If we get the Chinese hooked on our fake shrimp grown in Illinois, that's free money. That's not subsidies. That's free market dollars just coming right in.
I mean, I guess to a certain extent with the tariffs, that's going to be diminishing returns because even if it's imported now and people are willing to pay for that, it's not going to be something that as our innovation grows and our stock grows that we're going to be able to continue to do. That money's not going to come in. So even though the taxes won't last.
So you're still a yes.
I am a give us 2 years to see the market grow and then we can readjust
That'd be
it.
great to just sit in the sidelines.
But
and be like,
but,
hey,
but but I mean, but you make a really valid point. Obviously, the current tariffs, as I said at the beginning, they are a mistake. So there is a part of me that thinks maybe this one would be different because we desperately need to grow this market. But at the same time,
seems you came around a little bit.
So you're pro-tariff, which
I
means
am-
you support Trump on this topic, and you're anti-tariff, which means you support Mitch McConnell.
I mean, I support the United
Trump
States.
and McConnell.
I support the
Trump and
United
McConnell.
States
Is that
of
what we
America.
have
I
here?
support
first
the
of all,
United
Trump
States
will
of America.
Trump
I'm
will
just
never get
asking.
into this because it has no. He's not currently going to make money off of this. Give it
That
5
you know
years.
of, that you
That's
know
what I'm saying. Give it a couple of years for him to make
You're
a plan.
not thinking big enough.
Yeah.
Right? This is aquaculture. What goes with aquaculture?
Waterfront-
hotels.
Yeah, waterfront
Beachside
property.
Oh my God!
beachside property.
In the middle of Illinois, there's going
He
to be a
could,
Trump
no,
hotel.
the other way around. He could build a farm on Trump Tower on the river and say, "Look at me, I'm farming.
Yeah.
Give me
Or
my subsidy."
Now the land that's no longer going to be used on the coast for farming is now open to building.
Maybe that's the reason Trump Jr. was meeting with the alderman on
Oh,
Friday.
Jesus!
Maybe
Now
he's-
I'm anti-tariffs.
Maybe he's
There
going to
you
put a farm right
I'm
on the river.
anti-tariffs. We're both Mitch McConnell
All
on
right.
this one.
Well, you
Speak
could
for
be Paul
yourself.
Ryan.
All right, thank
Speak
God.
for
Yes,
yourself.
the
All right.
Wisconsinite Paul Ryan.
I'm against the tariffs. I think let the people pay what let it kind of flow for now. I'm pro-subsidy because I think we should support this, much like we did solar and Tesla. But there will be a point where we have to turn it off. If it doesn't work, we turn it off.
The subsidies?
The subsidies,
Yeah,
yeah.
of course.
Just like corn. All right, tweet at us using our handle HiFi Critics or the hashtag #SplashList. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to automatically be updated when a new episode is released.